10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, I'm Deb Oleander, and I want to welcome you to Sunday Assembly on this gorgeous spring day. Thank you for coming inside. It was really hard.
Okay.
Get some music going.
Get some music going.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. Finding a place to belong today can't seem to lose the pain. Nowhere to go like a dorm in college is never quite the same. Then all your friends move away. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see your troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. Everybody has hopes and dreams no matter where from. Look at the world through another's eyes, the bigger it becomes. 'Cause every person needs a chance. And yes, we want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where you and me have freedom from fear and shame. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
All right, so now we need to take a moment to meet our neighbors and see who's at the tables around us. And our question today to ask the other people with whom you're saying is, if you were a flower, what flower would you be?
Yes.
Yes, I don't want to name take on what flower would I'd be a lily, because I'd name my car Lily.
Flower.
Yeah, she's the yellow one out there with flowers on it. So.
No idea what flower.
And you'd really rather be carved than flower. Is that what you're saying?
Probably. My last one.
I'd be a sunflower. I've always loved sunflowers. Okay. I don't know. Wasn't there like what sunflower central in Harold? Wasn't there like a
Yes.
I think it may have stemmed from that.
You just moved in?
I'm not sure. I think that maybe confirmed my love for sunflowers, and it just grew.
Is that yesterday that you moved everything?
It does come back.
Still moving. And this is John, he's our neighbor. I've been twisting his arm for months.
Can you find the word?
I'll take mine back.
So I'm supposed to volunteer a flower and I had that first letter of dandelion, I actually qualified. And I think I am dandelion.
That's
Cool.
Deep root, fairly democratic.
deserves more respect.
Spreads all over.
Makes good wine.
Ooh, you know, what do you talk about? I would say I would be a rose. I'd be a rose because it's pretty, it smells nice, but it has thorns, so it's not perfect. So, and that's me. No, if I, that's what I feel like.
You're about that.
If I could be any flower, I'd be the sunflower.
Like a human but we get droopy.
But we follow the sun. That's what I love. I've had some mammoth sunflowers, and I just love how you look at them and 10 minutes later they're moving. It's like, how'd they do that?
And you feed the world, you feed the
When I get my cart.
the squirrels will run up.
Yep.
What kind of
Left over that he did earlier, and then they left us some.
That's my second job.
Yeah.
Well, I love the girl in Rod because we'd actually mentioned that we were talking about backyard and I said that would be a probably yearly adventure.
That will definitely be one of yours. That's every year.
Well, this spring we'll do it.
You know, no pressure in my
Okay, you guys are coming over this summer. You're going to watch Harold and Maude. We'll duct tape you to a chair if we have to. Oh, that's...
Leaf Court, I remember, was there.
Yeah.
Was the
Yes.
whole
And Budport.
Yeah. Very
Always something.
short acting.
No, he's showed up from time to time in
Yeah.
recent years.
Yeah, but I mean, he never made it big. I did see him he starred in the British version of Brave New World. They did, yeah, the BBC.
It's like a miniseries.
And let me tell you, I should get points for watching the whole thing.
Oh, was that great?
Oh, it was. But I kept watching it thinking, it's got to get better.
I liked the book.
No, and it never did.
I just saw him in a small role based on a book I loved in junior high, and I never realized that a few years later, when I was still in high school, they came out with the movie version. I wish I'd seen it at the time, I would have loved it. But now I was like, okay, it's called The Chocolate War. Is anyone... Did you read that book? Yeah, I love the book. But yeah, that's what Porter plays one of the professors. Yeah. Oh, so you saw it too.
So my lovely garden of people. And a couple more songs from our band now.
So you've been with us before. We're kind of a low-key, laid-back group of people. We like to sing. Some of us like to sing. Some of us like to do other things. Like watch. But the theme of our assembly today is positive thinking and kind of turning your mind around. So our next two songs kind of deal with that subject. If you were with us a couple months ago, we did this song, The Decemberists. Don't Carry It All, their last album. I like it. No eyes. So.
hitching hard to starboard, lay its head on summer's freckled knees, and nobody knows to let the yoke fall from our shoulders. Don't carry it all, don't carry it all. We are all our hands and holders beneath this bold and brilliant sun. This I swear to all, and this I swear to all. Every wreath of trillium and ivy laid upon the body of a boy, lazy will alone come from its hiding, return this quiet searcher to the soil. So raise a glass to turnings of the season, and watch it as it arcs towards the sun. And you must bear your neighbor's burden within reason, and your labors will be born when all is done. And nobody knows. Let the yoke fall from our shoulders. Don't carry it all, don't carry it all. We are all our hands and holders beneath this bold and brilliant sun. This I swear to all, and this I swear to all, and this I swear to all, and this I swear to all, to all, to all, to all.
So our next song, this is one we did way back, kind of towards the first month of Sunday Assembly. This Two Shall Pass, Okay Go, does anyone know it?
You will.
You will. Okay. For those of you who know it, you know there are several different parts to the song that happen towards the end. So, who's doing what?
I am doing ooze.
Yes. When in doubt, follow hands. Hands really loves it when people stare at him. So stare at him all the time, please. Okay. And ignore me for parts of it because I'll do that. As usual. All right. Do I start it? No, I'm starting it.
We'll start it.
Okay.
No, you can't keep letting it get you now, and you can't keep dragging dead where you're out. If there ain't not much to lug around, better run like hell when you hit the ground. When the morning comes, when the morning comes, you can't stop these kids from dancing while you want to, especially when you're already getting yours. Cause if your mind don't move and your knees don't bend, well, don't go blame the kids again. When the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes. shall pass. Let it go, this too shall pass. This too
Thank you. All right. So, by the way, this is what happens when people find out you're outgoing.
Go, Jeff!
So I want to welcome you all to Sunday Assembly. This is a non-religious gathering to celebrate life and community. It was started by two comedians, Pippa Evans and, now I can't read my writing.
Sanderson Jones.
Thank you, Sanderson Jones in Great Britain. We're not focused on atheism per se here, per se. We're focused on celebrating life. And we practice radical inclusivity in this group, meaning no one here will press their particular beliefs on you. You can believe whatever you want to, you just don't have to share it. Part of the reason we celebrate life is filled with wonderful things, from giggling babies, or at this point, sleeping babies, yes, to proteins that allow our eyes to see in living color, to the dark matter that makes up the universe, to bacterial conjugation that makes so many wonderful illnesses for us to have, to books, ideas, music, art. It is, unfortunately, also filled with pain and difficulty and sorrow, which is one of the reasons that I personally celebrate the good stuff as much as possible. Our focus for today's assembly falls under the Live Better portion of our motto. Our motto is to live better, to help often, and to wonder more. As our guest speaker today, Lee Bush, knows only too well, staying positive through adversity is really important. Before we hear her thoughts, though, we're going to go to Ben Ellis for today's reading. Welcome, Ben Ellis.
So today I'm going to share a passage from The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and I'm going to talk about how it ties into positive thinking. I'm not too loud, am I?
No.
That's my job.
Good morning, said Bilbo, and he meant it. The sun was shining and the grass was very green, but Gandalf looked at him from under his bushy eyebrows and stuck out further than the brim of his shady hat. What do you mean, he said. Do you wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I wander or not? Whether you feel good this morning, or that it is a good morning to be on. All of them at once, said Bilbo, and a very fine morning for a pipe of tobacco out of doors, into the bargain. If you have a pipe about you, sit down and have a fill of mine. There's no hurry, we have all the day before us. Then Bilbo sat down on a seat by his door, crossed his legs, and blew out a beautiful gray ring of smoke that sailed up into the air without breaking and floated away over the hill. Very pretty, said Gandalf, but I have no time to blow smoke rings this morning. I'm looking for someone to share an adventure that I am arranging, and it's very difficult to find anyone. I should think so in these parts. We are plain quiet folk and have no use for adventures, nasty, disturbing, uncomfortable things. Make sure late for dinner. I can't think of any well seasoned them, said our Mr. Baggins, and stuck one thumb on behind his braces and blew out another even bigger smoke ring. Then he took out his morning letters and began to read, pretending to take no more notice of the old man. He had decided that he was not quite his sort and wanted him to go away. But the old man did not move. He stood leaning on his stick and gazing at the hobbit without saying anything, until Bilbo got quite uncomfortable and even a little cross. "Good morning," he said at last. "We don't want any adventures here, thank you. You might try over the hill or across the water." By this he meant the conversation was at an end. The reason I chose to share that, when Nancy emailed me about this a month ago, I thought this was a perfect passage because it's about having a positive attitude on your journey wherever you go. Sure, Bilbo could have stayed in this hobbit hole and said, "You know what, I'm not going to go with Gandalf, I'm not going to go with the dwarves, I'm just going to stay here." But he took the challenge of having a positive attitude about walking away from Hobbiton and going on an adventure that sometimes is really scary. And to me, that's life. Sometimes we just have to get out of our hobbit holes and go on that journey. Even though it'd be really scary, I mean, we might see giant spiders or elves. I mean, not in real life, but...
Depending on where you go.
True, thank you. Only in July. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think it just really inspired me because a lot of times in my own journey, it's just, you have to make that first step to get out the door, to gain that positive attitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. I do love Bilbo. What a great character. And Gandalf, don't you just want eyebrows like that? So, let's welcome Lee Bush. She is a single parent, of a now 25-year-old, so now she's an empty nester. Her son was diagnosed with his first mental illness at 16 months. And she had to deal with it as a single parent. She is currently self-employed as a bookkeeper who does work for small businesses. And she also does interior gardens and wedding cakes to celebrate the other side of the world. Welcome, Lee.
Hi, I got everything, my water, my glasses, my notes. That's right, the most important part. Somebody to hear what I have to say. I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and my mom had 5 by the time she was 23 years old. So there was 5 and 5 years, we were all really close in age, which means that we kind of fed off of each other quite a bit. And we were known for always having a smile on our face, and people would say, "Well, what do you guys smile about everything?" Well, unless we have a reason not to, probably. Why not? But one thing that I really remember growing up was, even though I was a child of the 60s, and this was written in 1972, it had a real strong imprint on mine and my brothers and sisters' lives. It was something that was hanging on the wall, and some of you older folks will probably recognize it. It's by Dorothy Law Nolte. Children learn what they live. If children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children live with hostility, they learn to fight. If children live with fear, they learn to be apprehensive. If children live with pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves. If children live with ridicule, they learn to feel shy. If children live with jealousy, they learn to feel envy. If children live with shame, they learn to feel guilty. If children live with encouragement, they learn confidence. If children live with tolerance, they learn patience. If children live with praise, they learn appreciation. If children live with acceptance, they learn to love. If children live with approval, they learn to like themselves. If children live with recognition, they learn it is good to have a goal. If children live with sharing, they learn generosity. If children live with honesty, they learn truthfulness. If children live with fairness, they learn justice. If children live with kindness and consideration, they learn respect. If children live with security, they learn to have faith in themselves and those around them. If children live with friendliness, they learn the world is a nice place in which to live. So the big message of that is if you put out negativity, not just for children, for everybody, if you're going to get negativity back, and they're going to be spreading that negativity everywhere. So if you are pushing positivity out there in your attitude, you're going to help other people have a more positive attitude. And us kids would actually say to my mom when she'd say, hey, stop being such a pig and pick your clothes up. Oh, Mom, if a child was with criticism, he are you trying to teach me to be a condemner? Whatever it was, we could find a way to poke a hole in her story and make things a little bit better. Now, 2 negatives only make a positive in math. So I think that that's just something really important to remember when you find yourself doing something negative, or when you see somebody else doing something negative. A lot of times, I've even said to people, hey, I'm sorry, but it seems to me that your insecurities are showing. Because you're putting them out onto other people and trying to make yourself feel better by talking them down. Let's avoid that. Let's find another way to help people up. Now this is something that I've had in my home for the last 20 years, another thing I'm going to read here. It's called Golden Attitude. And
Number 4, quality time with a friend last weekend.
The sunshine. Yeah, it was like get up and go. Yeah, like it was like
I had a hard time narrowing down to 5 week, you know. And I had a lot of fun visiting friends.
I'm so
Well, you can do one. You can do it.
I thought we were doing the group one as a group.
Oh,
Okay, I was
sorry. Maybe I messed up.
okay.
Yeah.
So what was the second one that was supposed to be?
The best moments of your life. Positive versus the last one. Oops. Maybe I mean, she's my wife. That doesn't mean
I probably
that's it. It's an excuse.
When you get rid of all the 5 points of the entire life, you know, rip off one finger.
There you go. Ow. Well, let's at least share about what the high points of the week. You know, sound good? All right. One of my high points was yesterday. We went to Tabletop Game Day.
Did you?
In Minneapolis. International Tabletop Game Day. We went to Geek Partnership Society. It's just a lot of fun.
I was going to go to that.
I know,
and
we were watching for you.
But I wasn't sure if my phone was working when I said I wasn't going.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that showed up. But anyway.
That was one of them.
One of mine is we had sushi on Friday. It was really good.
Nice. I connected with some childhood friends, like elementary school friends on Facebook. So some great pictures. Here's memories.
It's completely
Nice.
I programmed a Python class where I took some
That's cool though.
Right. Should we share another one? Sure. Okay. Like you two, I'm a teacher, and I introduced, on an impulse, I introduced improv to my theater class, and not knowing how they were going to take it, because I was going down the highway, and they weren't following very well, and I thought, left turn, take the exit ramp, and I said, okay, improv, and they just ate it up. So for the next 40 minutes, we were just having fun. That's cool. Now I know what unit I'm introducing next week. Right.
Yeah. I was working on, I developed e-learning and was working on something that's kind of stumped on what to do next and kind of right there, so it doesn't feel different.
I went on a nice walk yesterday when you were eating. Great day, and for it, my son and his girlfriend and her dad to the chocolate shop where the chocolate was super good.
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
What's it called?
So it's like whatever there was no love in there.
Is that
What's the nice thing about Netflix? Like, you can watch it anytime you don't like it. You're not obligated to.
One simple thing I enjoyed just this morning, I was woken up early by my dog, unfortunately, who decided he needed to go out, so I begrudgingly let him out and realized I wasn't going to try and get back in bed and wake Nancy, so I sat down in my, what was my father's big chair. It was all my life growing up, it was his big chair, and I sat down there, and I fell asleep, and it was miraculous. I just loved it. All of a sudden, I was just like a kid again. So nice.
We also did game night with some friends and grilled out for us, so it was nice to do some grilling.
Nice. My daughter, to whom I used to read Where the Wild Things Are, along with my son, she sent my son and I a link to a YouTube video, which was a highlight of my week. Christopher Walken reading and describing Where the Wild Things Are is just glorious. You should find it. It's really fun.
That really works, doesn't it?
I wrote an email to my son explaining why I did discuss climate change.
I heard about Florida, and I heard about Wisconsin. Florida's the same.
Your hands
To use the term climate change or global warming.
That would be wonderful. And then after we finish the ceremonies here, you guys can talk more about what's going on, because I love when I see that. Where's the tape? Yes.
Tape.
That table has the tape.
Share the wealth. How many hands do you have?
Kind of like that.
That's no fun.
pumpkin gift.
Oh,
Mine,
oh,
we had two for the lifetime.
We make for next Thanksgiving. We just make a giant one and put it on my back. I'll put them all
Can I take people's hands, put them up, or unless you want to put them up?
The big achievements or the small achievements?
Or both. You can put both up. Hands are put up.
Not when you get there early. It's either 8 or 9 And then because the longer you wait, do you want to speak from the guards? Go on the ride and do some rides. Probably. Stick around. We'll try to network some.
So is this concluded by a kind of a fellowship?
Yeah, kind of. And well, I think she's gonna do more so.
This is my first service, so
Well, I'm not gonna make I'm here a while. Well, yeah, one focus more on the social elements. This is our organization that has given us the space for free. So, yeah, yes. And we actually run the larger room, like kind of like our little cozy room here. So,
right for you, so now.
it is. It's nice. It's just better. Yeah. And so, yeah. Trying to do something a little different. There's a lot of things available
When we're done.
that offers intellectual, and that's great. Social inspirational, even if you don't have religion, you can have fun and be inspired and sing. Against the rules to laugh and enjoy life. So we're trying to focus on that. Thanks for giving us a try.
As our last few friends put some things up on the wall there. I will, definitely. So, we have a couple of things left to do. I have a wrap-up to do, which apparently I'm supposed to kind of miraculously wrap up all the things that we've heard here today into one nice little package for you to take home. And having heard all this stuff the same time you guys did, I've done my best. And the other thing I need to do is tell you guys a few announcements, and then we'll have a closing song. When that's all done, I encourage you to stay around and socialize. We have coffee and treats, and to talk more about what you guys were starting to talk about with the game and get some more community going here. Because I think that's really the most important thing for us to do is get to know each other and build this community. So as far as the wrap-up of things today, I started some of this at home this morning thinking about positivity. I'm a mother of a mentally ill child as well, and so listening to Lee's talk, it made me think about a lot of the things that I try to do too. And the idea that she had that so much of life is my attitude toward it, I very much identify with. I manage to be happy and positive most of the time, and it makes life more pleasant for me. And I've noticed that when I walk around and smile at people, this amazing thing happens. You all smile back. It's lovely. So having a positive attitude has been a very good thing. And that's coming up. The piggies are coming up, Tom. Trust me. And the other thing that I learned actually when I was younger, right, my dad's partner, my dad is a retired pediatrician. His partner was a pediatric oncologist, hematologist. So there were really sick kids in that office all the time. And Bob was this doctor's name, and Bob's most important saying that has stuck with me since I was 20 is, life's too short. So life's too short to stay angry, to stay sad, to stay frightened. Stay as joyful as you can. It's a short journey. And then bringing in some of what Ben talked about today too. Life's journey may be difficult. Our journey may have dragons. Most of us do sooner or later. But our attitude can make the dragon our nemesis, or a friend, or mentor. And it can really make a big difference. All right, some announcements. First of all, you may notice there are some lovely little piggies on the table. And I think most of them have had legs repaired. It's kind of amazing. As I had this originally written as, you may see piggies on your table. Many are sadly legless. But they went through emergency surgery right before we started today. Should you feel so moved, these piggies are on the table to accept donations and your ability to help volunteer for this community. Our community is 100% run by donations and volunteers. So any time that you would have to give to the organization, be it a couple hours here and there, be it more of your time, would be very much welcome, because it's all on us to make this thing work. So if you'd be willing to share a little bit of money or a little bit of time, please feel free to put your money or your ability to help on a piece of paper or on a leftover hand that might be on your table into the piggy. Or you can speak to any number of people here who are part of the community. We have a bunch of the members of our board here. We have our president, Erin, the young lady here with the blonde hair. We have Fritzy sitting at the back table there. We have several of our band members there. So come talk to one of us. And you can talk to me now too, I guess. And we can coordinate. All right, and then some other announcements, things that we have coming up. These are some small group events that we do to try to help build community. The Wine with Ted is held at Erin and Matt's house, and it's been a blast. I've been going almost every month for the last 6 months. We do a lot of socializing, then we watch a TED Talk, and they'll talk about the TED Talk, and then run off on many tangents. It's usually very interesting because it's so many different perspectives, thoughtful perspectives. On Saturday, April 18th, there's going to be a seminar, a communications seminar, that's going to look at your personality and how you can interact with other personalities. It may help you at work, or in your family, or in your communities to help increase your abilities to communicate clearly and comfortably. Our next Sunday assembly will be on Sunday, May 10th. We also have some people here from Camp Quest. Would you guys show us who you are? So these two ladies over here are from Camp Quest. Camp Quest is a nonprofit organization that has a summer camp. It's for humanists, atheists, agnostics, freethinkers, and Unitarians for your children. Everyone is welcome. It's an overnight secular camp for young folks. So if you're curious about that for your kids, please talk to these young ladies to get more information. There are also some postcards at the back of the room that have more information. And a reminder, please stay around to talk to your friends here a bit more and have some treats. And I'd like to leave you with the band.
Yeah. Just to jump off of what Deb was saying, like we are all volunteers out here. Everyone who works at Sunday Assembly, we're all volunteer-led. So yes, if you see any people with these lovely green buttons on, talk to us. If you are interested in getting involved. If you're interested in getting involved in the band, we can always use more people. So talk to me if you would like to do that, or anyone else. Wanted to just quick acknowledge everyone like up here with me today. Jacqueline, Hans, and Ryan, who's our guitarist, and the person who we could not do this without all of this is Keith in the back. Keith is amazing. So if we could just acknowledge everyone. And yeah, so small. All right, so we're going to leave you with one last song today. Kind of encapsulates positive thinking and thinking about each other. So, like, yes, as we said, hang out in the back after we're done, get drinks and goodies, and talk to each other. So here we go.
Not those kind of jobs.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far, don't worry, baby. Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. Remember the day I set you free, I told you you could always count on me. From that day on, I made a vow, I'll be there when you want me some way, somehow. 'Cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. No wind, no rain, no winter's cold can't stop me, baby. If you're ever in trouble, I'll be there on the double. Just stand for me, baby. My love is alive, way down in my heart. Although we are miles apart, if you ever need a helping hand, I'll be there on the double as fast as I can. You know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. You know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far. Thank you, nice to meet you.